In some corners of the internet, I heard that the book Educated by Tara Westover was an attempt to make all homeschoolers and crunchy people look crazy. Other corners of the internet, I heard it said that it was a great example of why you don't have to worry about the education you give your children because they can excel no matter what. As it turns out, no surprise, the truth is somewhere in between. If you've never heard of it, this book came out last year and it was a big hit for good reason. It is very well written. Tara is raised in rural Idaho in, I think she was born in the mid-80s, so kind of the 90s. She was growing up there, and they are a Mormon family. I think she had 6 siblings. And her dad, let's say he was definitely a skeptical, kind of a conspiracy-minded person. And her mom very much kind of bent to his will in a lot of areas. They were a family, kind of a crunchy family. They didn't believe in Western medicine. And that storyline plays a role in several of the sub-stories within the story, or within her book, with different injuries that happened to her family. But it is not, I didn't come away with a feeling that she was trying to make anyone else think that is a crazy thing. While they were technically a homeschooling family, I would say they were much more non-school. I wouldn't even put it in an unschooling category. They did no formal education, which, okay, but it wasn't done with an unschooling approach in mind. It was from kind of the view that there was a lot to get done around their rural property, and kids were needed to work. And her father was very skeptical of education, book learning, as he calls it. And so they just didn't. Now, so the book kind of tells a story, starts with that, kind of leading up to it. She is, I think, child number, she had, several of her siblings were older than her. And she watched one of her older brothers leave the home and go off to Brigham Young University and then Purdue for an education. And he kind of encouraged her to do that as well. And she was able to. I won't spoil how it is that she was able to do that, but hard work and determination, she was able to. And so that's where I've heard people argue, well, it doesn't matter because look at this girl, she had no education, no formal education of any type, and she was able to go to college. She taught herself what she needed in order to get in, and then she went on to get post-bachelor level education. And don't want to spoil anything, but she goes on and is able to excel at a high level. So I've heard people say, well then, look, it doesn't matter. Look what she was able to do. Well, okay, she was able to do that. But for one, not every kid, I don't have the brains to do what she did. And I would not say any of my kids have that. Some kids will excel no matter where you put them, given the opportunity. Some kids are not going to. And when you look at her family, there was definitely a divide between those who were able to leave their family area and separate themselves from their family and get an education, and those who were not. And of course there were other, contributing factors within each of them. So, yes, she was able to do that. But that doesn't, I don't see that as any reason why I should abdicate my role to take this job seriously. Now, I do take comfort in the fact that, you know what, I can do the best I can, and that's whatever I can do is what I can do. But I have to take that role seriously. I believe firmly that that is my role as a homeschool parent. If I'm taking on the job of educating my children, I need to do it to the best of my ability. Whatever that ability is, we'll see. That's to be determined, but that's my role. So when you take those two considerations, does it mean that we should just they'll excel? Well, I don't believe that at all, and I also don't think it was anything about trying to make all crunchy people, all homeschooling people look bad at all. I would argue that the book is much more about the human ability to overcome an abusive, unstable home life when given certain opportunities. She had an older sibling who was able to guide her. People that she met while she was at college helped to kind of steer her path and help her with the education of life that she didn't already know. I mean, she talks about how she didn't know anything about the Holocaust or Martin Luther King. Slavery, her understanding of slavery was not accurate. So all these little things that she had the fortune of people being placed in her life that helped her with things like that, and also things like at one point she's sick in college and she had a roommate who was able to help her know how to go to the doctor because she was so sick. She'd only had her mom treated everything, and so she didn't know anything about going to the doctor, like how you even do that, where you go. So many points in the story you think if she hadn't had a certain person or something hadn't happened, her story could have been very different. And so I would argue that that's much more about what she argues is that she was lucky to have people come along to help her at various points, to influence her, as well as a determination to do more and embrace the opportunities that she had. I would also say the story is a lot about the complexity of family life and of abusive homes, and how that affects you in ways that you don't even understand until you have the opportunity to see the bigger picture. I would absolutely recommend this book, whether you're a homeschooling family or not. I think it's a really good read. As someone who embraces non-Western medicine at times too, I did not feel at all like she was making out my choices to be nutty. I think she did a very good job of placing all of those labels in the context of a home life that was, I'm not sure, dominated, ruled by, I don't know what word, that was heavily influenced by instability, paranoia, mental illness. If you have a squeamish stomach, there are a few parts that made my stomach curl a little bit when she was talking about injuries, but there was nothing gratuitous about it. There was nothing that I felt was inappropriate. See you in the next video.